Hi, and welcome to Europ's presentation on how to prepare an oral presentation audition video for this year's symposium. My name's Jerry McMillan. I'm a Europ advisor, and this video is one of a series of videos we've created for the symposium to introduce you to all of the possible types of presentations you'll be doing. We'll also have a video on presentation skills at the end of the series. So we invite you to take advantage of all of the videos we have. And also I want to remind you, the source for all information on the symposium is our student presenter guide. It has all the details, all of the things that I can't go into in the time we're doing this video. So refer to the guide, refer to it often, and then come back to the video for specific information on the actual presentations you're doing. So let's talk. How do you present an oral presentation audition video? So let's start with a basic question. What is an oral audition video? An oral audition video is two parts. It's your pitch and it's supporting visuals. Those two together are what we're going to be talking about as your video. So the reason you want to do an oral audition video is we have 4 nights of in-person oral presentations for the symposium. And because we only have 4 nights, we have a limited number of presentations available. If you want the opportunity to do an in-person oral presentation, you need to submit an oral audition video with your initial application. You're going to submit a 3-minute audition video. Our judges will review all the videos received, and the best presenters we receive as part of that application, we will invite to do the in-person presentations. So this video is talking about the oral audition video. We have another video that will talk about how to do the oral presentation in person. This one's for the audition video. If you're invited to do the presentation in person, watch that video as well. So the important thing, this is to compete for the opportunity to present in person. It's also different. As I mentioned, the oral audition video is a 3-minute pitch. The in-person presentation is a 7-minute research presentation. So the ultimate product you are doing is different for the 2 different presentations. But one thing to remember, you're talking about the same project. So if you have the opportunity to do an in-person presentation, you don't have to scrap everything you've done so far. You can build on what you've already done. But keep in mind, 7 minutes is very different than 3 minutes. So think as you're creating the pitch for the oral audition video, there are different goals, which we'll talk about in a moment. The in-person presentation allows you to do much more detail. So as you're transitioning from the initial pitch to the in-person presentation, make sure you don't just add a bunch of filler to make it longer. Make sure you're changing your presentation deliberately and mindfully. But looking back specifically at the oral audition video, the first element is a pitch. So what is a pitch? A pitch is a 3-minute overview that introduces your project. And the important word here is overview. You can't describe an entire project in 3 minutes. So as you're thinking about what to say, think about what you need to say. As a note, your project doesn't need to be complete by the time you're doing this. In fact, it probably won't be, because our initial deadline is a couple of months before the symposium. So the pitch is not about your final project. The pitch is about what you have at the point you are recording it. So a 3-minute overview, and the focus of a pitch is on inspiration and impact. Why is your audience going to be excited about what you've done? Why does it matter to them? Why should they care about them? This is not the time to go into a lot of details, particularly about your methods. Another important element of a pitch is the personal connection. As human beings, we respond to stories. What's the story of how you were involved in this project? Why did you get involved in it? Now that you are through your project, as far as you've gotten, what have you gotten out of it? How has this mattered to you? So unlike a traditional research presentation, your presence in this project is an important element of your pitch. So focus on yourself. Focus on the inspiration. Why did you get inspired to do this? Why should your audience be inspired by what you've done? And how does this affect you? How does it affect your community, your audience, the world around you? As your goal as people is to have people who walk away from your pitch, to have them excited. So focus on what excites you about your project, and that'll give you a good clue as to what you should include in the pitch. So the first element of the audition video is the pitch. The second element is the supporting visuals. And supporting visuals are basically a slideshow. Usually PowerPoint. If you have another tool that you want to use, that's probably okay. But the important thing to remember is the slides you are creating, these supporting visuals, are not a complete presentation on their own. A lot of people, when they're preparing a presentation, call it a PowerPoint presentation. And I don't like that term because it implies that the PowerPoint is the focus of the presentation. Rather, the focus of the presentation is you. The slides are supporting what you are doing. They support your pitch. The pitch is still the important part. So the slides are here to illustrate what you're talking about, to support what you're talking about. Include graphs, include illustrations. If there's something you cannot describe, what does it look like? That's a great thing to put on a slide. Remember the old adage that a picture is worth 1,000 words. 1,000 words takes a long time. You only have 3 minutes. What are those 1,000-word pictures you can put that can make your pitch more efficient? And then another thing to think about in putting in your supporting visuals is navigation reminders. And what that basically means is at the top, a heading. It'll remind your audience, what are we talking about right now? It'll also remind you, where am I in the flow of my pitch? So as you're thinking about these goals for your supporting visuals, start thinking about what should be on the slide. First of all, think about what's needed to be on the slide. What's your goal for this slide? Figure out your goal, and then for everything you want to put on the slide, ask yourself, is this required to get closer to my goal? And if it is not, consider altering it or taking it off. Use bullet points, not complete sentences. Clarity is the important thing here. You want people to be able to grasp what's on the slide very quickly. One thing to think about, every time you put up new information on a slide, your audience is going to stop listening to you and spend time reading. How can you minimize the amount of time they're reading and maximize the amount of time they're listening to you? So bullet points, not complete sentences. And everything on the slide contributes to your ultimate goal. Another really important element on the slide is white space. Think about a slide with way too much stuff on it. Then think about a very efficiently designed slide One of the big differences is there's a lot of empty space on the well-designed slide. It makes it easier to read what's there. It makes it easier to focus on what's there. So if you find your slides getting way too crowded, think about whether all that should be on a single slide or whether you could do it better by making 2 slides, breaking up the information just to make it more readable with more white space. And as you're designing slides, as I mentioned, you want it to be easily readable. You want your text to be minimal, concise, as I said, bullet points. You want the organization to be really clear. You want it to make sense for people as they're reading it and for you as you are speaking about what's on there. You want your headings to say something. A lot of times you'll see slides with a heading that just says results. Rather than saying results, how about a heading that says we found this? Then you don't need a paragraph or a bullet that says we found it. You've already included that information. So think about headings that actually provide information. And then when you're adding illustrations and graphics, make sure they are contained, make them simple, and make sure they're self-explained. In terms of simplicity, think about a graph. A lot of graphs will have a y-axis going from 0 to 100. Maybe all your data is between 50 and 70. Why do you need to label 0, 10, 20, 30 if all the information's somewhere else? Put the labels where they're important. Leave other stuff out. Think about some of the graphs you've seen with shadings and 3D effects. Yeah, they look cool, but do they make the information easier to interpret? Consider if there's a simpler, clearer way of doing it. And then avoid things that distract from your message. It's really easy to want to take advantage to all the fonts, all the colors, all of the graphics, all of the transition effects on your computer. And I strongly suggest this is not the time to use all of those. Figure out what you want to use. Figure out what you can use to emphasize what you're doing. And play with the other stuff somewhere else. So just a couple of quick illustrations of how not to design a slide. I don't want you to read all of these. I just want you to take a look, react to them, and then think, I don't want to do it that way. First of all, I mentioned white space. I mentioned bullets instead of long sentences. Do not do a slide like this. And yet we've all seen them. Keep the text simple, to the point. I mentioned make your illustrations relevant to what you're talking about. Here's one where the text and the illustration have absolutely nothing to do with each other. Sure, it's a cool picture. The text is fine. But why are they together? Don't leave your audience asking themselves that. And then finally, don't do this. It's really fun to play with this stuff. But again, this is not the time or place for it. So with those in mind, work on your audition video. Read the guide, keep in mind what I've mentioned in this video, and submit something that you are proud of. And then if our judges really like what you've done, you'll have the opportunity to do an in-person presentation, but that's another video. Thank you for watching and enjoy the symposium.